So the other night, I was watching Sinners with some friends, right? And after the movie was finished, we were talking about, vampires and monsters and stuff, and like which ones scare us, right? And one of my friends said something I thought was pretty interesting. They were like, well, I don't think vampires are scary, because they're like certainly not real. Or same thing with like like monsters and ghouls, like these things, right? But they were like, spirits are scary. That's what they said. The spirits are scary because like those are real. Those are definitely real. Which, first of all, let me start this video with a side tangent because I hate people watching past 30 seconds of these. Listen, do I think vampires are real? No, but like, I think we're discounting that vampires can't be real, guys. I think we really are. People think that spirits are real. And this is about to be a very, like, super backhanded, almost, categorization just to everybody, right? I think spirits or people think that people think that spirits are real. Huge mouthful of a sentence right there. I think that people think that spirits are real because they've had an experience that they think is related to a spirit, right? And I think it's so conceited to be like vampires can't be real because I've never seen a vampire. I've never been to India. I think India exists. Like, I know India exists. Not that I know it exists, even though I've never been there. I don't need to see something to know it exists. And I think there's a total chance that vampires are real. 100%. A million percent I think there's a chance. Do I think they're real? I don't know. But like, do I think it's more possible than people say? Oh yeah. 100%. Dude, a vampire is an old guy who just never dies, is rich, and lives in a castle and doesn't go outside. That's the most realistic thing. That, dare I say, that's just most of Senate, right? Isn't that like what that is? But I must cast that aside for this video. That's a whole other conspiracy theory of mine that is great to start off this video that is oddly Halloween themed and, about 15 days late for what it should be. I totally should have done this video on Halloween, but hey, I was 5 months late to Sinners or something. I can be a couple days late to the Halloween video. Happy Halloween, everybody. I'm not a big fan of the holiday. Anyways, ghosts, right? So back to what I was saying, right, about my slightly condescending opinion on why I think people think that ghosts are real. I think people think ghosts are real because they've had an opinion that is like, or had an experience that is very ghostly, right? I mean, like, listen, I've been there too. I've had things go bump in the night, as they say, and I can't lie, for a second, it's very, like, when you can't explain anything, it's like a very appealing thing to be like, it's something that it's like a ghost, a spirit, right? Also too, because what's it called? Like, is this the state where you're like in between when you're awake and you're a little sleepy, like hypnagogia or something. It's like when you're like drifting off to sleep, right? When you like jerk awake as you're falling asleep, that's called a hypnic jerk, I think, right? I learned this in a class once that I took. So I think when you're in that state, it's very easy to hear things. Other day, I heard somebody walk into my room as I was falling asleep, and I was like, oh my god, I'm about to die. Turn on the lights. Oh, it was like a little hallucination. Like, that's a very common thing, to think you saw something and go and sleep, right? But I can totally see, I will say, and listen, this is a little backhand me to think that everybody that believes in ghosts has this opinion. Oh yeah, it definitely is. I can say that for a fact. But listen, if you're predisposed to believing in stuff like that, if you're predisposed to believing in spirits, I think it makes a lot of sense that you would see that and be like, this is a spirit. I will say, I had a friend that went to Ireland once and thought he saw a troll, and because he was I don't know, actually this has nothing to do with any of this actually, he just thought he saw a troll, and he, for 5 years, has refused to like even entertain the possibility that he was seeing things. He, to this day, believes in trolls. And I could see spirits being a very similar thing. You think you see something, and it's like, now I'm gonna stand on this. You know what I'll even say? I don't discount the idea of spirits in a realistic context. Like, it's kind of realistic, right? we can't explain certain things like how our brains work or how like we have like a soul or whatever. Like there isn't that thing. They're like we can't explain all this stuff with science. That I can say for a fact. I can say that for a fact. We can't explain everything yet with science. So like I'm open to the idea that after we're gone, there's a little something left behind, and maybe we can't really explain it, right? Here's what I'm not open to, and here's why I am probably gonna say like you guys should try and convince me, because I'm yet to hear a good argument, right? But the reason I want to do this here, like, you know, why don't I just ask my friend about this, right? My friends, plural, multiple of my friends believe in ghosts, right? So why don't I ask somebody I know about this? To be honest, 100% honest, I'm very tired of hearing the same thing every time I ask this question. One time when I was 5, it got really cold in my room, and they were trying to kill me, the ghosts were trying to kill me. I'm tired of that. I don't want to hear any anecdotes. I don't want any anecdotes. I want an explanation. Why do people think spirits are evil is my question. Right? Because like I said, I'm open to the idea that there is, you know Yu Yu Hakusho, the anime, where like the guy gets hit by the car and he goes up into heaven or whatever, and or not heaven, he goes into the spirit world, and they're like, yeah, after you die, you come into this realm of spirits, and like, you gotta like finish stuff in your spirit quest or whatever. That could be real. 100, like when I watched that for the first time, I was like, yeah, this is actually like, if ghosts were real, this is how this would work, right? 100% on board. What I'm not on board with is evil ghosts. Let's put ourselves in the shoes of a ghost real quick, right? You just died. Let's say it was nice. Let's say it was a nice thing that happened. Let's say you died of old age. You were 70. You were named Humphrey, and you died in your bed with of old age, right? Super peaceful stuff. You're in England. Everyone named Humphrey's in England. There's no one named Humphrey here in America. We would never do that to ourselves. So that happens, right? And now you're not really up there in heaven. Yeah, I don't know if heaven exists. Let's remove heaven from this whole equation or any sort of afterlife. Your spirit is still around. You're still floating around, right? Let's say that like you just that's what happened. You just stick around for a little bit before whatever comes next, right? Maybe even stuck in limbo. If you're Humphrey, maybe you're just stuck in the house. Why on earth, if I'm Humphrey, would I ever be mean? It seems awesome. You get to live, but you just get to float around everywhere. Like, why would I ever be upset about that? Why would a spirit be angry? Let's say, 10 years later down the line, somebody moves into my new flat in London. I'm Humphrey, right? Why would I be like, get out? Like, you know how like a lot of the spirits in the movies and stuff that are like attacking the person that moves into their new house? Why would I ever do that? I know I can't use it. I'm literally dead. I can't use my house anymore. Like, I don't exist. So why would I be all angry if somebody moves in? This is what I don't like, right? Because, okay, so we all, of course, have a fear of the unexplainable, right? When something crazy happens that you can't explain, of course it's scary, right? Like, of course that's a scary thing. That's why when you're a kid and you go to the amusement park for the first time, it's really scary, and then you go on one roller coaster and you're like, oh, it's not that bad, and then you keep going on, right? A lot of things are like that. The unexplainable scares us. I don't think it makes sense. We can't explain spirits. I don't think it makes sense to just be scared of all spirits. To be like, these guys must be evil demons. Why? I don't understand why we think these guys are demons. I really don't. That's my big question. And so this is the question I ask people, and they go, well, I had a guy, this is a real thing, right? My friend would be delighted if they knew I was sharing the story right now. I'll probably call her after and tell her I shared the story. She had an old man that apparently was a ghost that was on a typewriter in her closet for 10 years. Apparently he was really nice, but apparently he got into a battle with another ghost in the room that was not nice. Why? Like, and then when I ask, I just hear the story again. This is a repeated thing. This isn't any shade to my friend. They know that I have a pet peeve of them just telling me that they're scary ghosts because they've seen the scary ghosts. I want to know, what is the logic behind being a ghost and being scary to people? You could be a nice ghost. You could talk to people and like hang out with them. Go find where they're using a Ouija board. You could be like, hey, what's up guys? I want to help you with ghost quests. You get to do that and you would choose to be scary? This makes no sense to me. This makes no sense at all, and I don't buy this. And this is why I don't believe in spirits in the traditional sense. Like I said, could there be something going on? Totally open to it. I think it makes a lot of sense. Do I believe that we got this right, or that anybody's right when they say spirits are evil and to be feared? No, I hate that. I hate that a lot. It's actually one of my biggest pet peeves. It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all that you would ever be angry and mean if you were a ghost. So because of that, and the reason I'm bringing this here, right, instead of, like I said, I hate getting the same response to this question over and over again, but another reason I'm bringing this here, because you guys have a great track record of proving me wrong, to put it simply. I've had a lot of times where I have an idea, I'll bring it to the show, somebody will comment something, and I'll go, oh my god, I hate myself, I was completely wrong, and now there's a 20-minute video of me saying something that I completely disagree with. So I feel like this would be great if you guys could prove me wrong about this. I'm basically using you as Google right now, is what's happening, because I think you guys would be way better at answering this than anything else. So yeah, tell me what's going on there. Tell me what's going on with spirits, why you'd be an evil spirit. Yeah, so this was just meant to be a fun little episode here. I know this is like a super different, weird topic in comparison to what we usually do on the show, but I was just thinking about it, and I was like, you know, let's just do kind of a fun one. Like when at that one time I was like, what would I think would happen with an alien invasion? I think stuff like that's fun to do every now and again. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully you got something out of it, and more importantly, hopefully I can finally get an explanation, because I've lived years wondering about this stuff. So yeah, this is the apple. I want to make it a little more whimsical today. I want to make it a little more fun. I'm gonna keep going with these apples. I'm gonna do another apple or two. What's gonna happen, by the way, on the Instagram? Not that anyone's really over there. I don't know why I'm saying this as if like I need to do a PSA, but instead of doing a post last week and a post this week, since it's going to be a lot of rocks, a painting by a 5-year-old, and then a lot of apples, I'm going to do one painting, or one post this Sunday with this upcoming Friday. It'll be with all of the paintings from 2 weeks. It'll be 14 paintings, one post, just because, like, you know, we don't need 2 posts of rocks and apples. But I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying learning this form, and I got a little fun with it today. I did a little different of an apple. So yeah, shout out to this apple, and shout out to ghosts and stuff. I was actually scared to make this, because what if I'm wrong and I get haunted? Like, that's a real possibility. So we got to watch out for that. But until next time, guys, gals, and pals, my name is Max Dice. This is Paint Talk episode 316. I'm here every morning, painting and talking with you all.